Atlanta, Georgia. And if you're just tuning in, I am about to throw a set that is 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 13. I'm throwing 13 bowl plates. So I have a customer who already has dinner plates and coffee mugs, and now they want to add to their dinner set that I made for them, which I freaking love. I'm so excited. And I just spent some time throwing these salad plates, like medium salad plates, and now I'm going to throw some like pasta bowl plates, you know? Then I guess I also need bowls, but these will be pasta bowl plates. Great for like anything with like a sauce. So I'm going to press these down. I'm going to really try to focus on how wide I'm opening. And then I will compress. And then maybe this time, because I have my calipers to measure. Oh, no, we don't like that. We don't like that. We're going to put that clay back in there. We'll compress that. Don't like that. Gotta be careful. Okay, but that's not how wide we open. We'll compress this back. Just hold it and rotate, 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 rotate. Rotate, rotate, rotate. Press where I funked up that bit. Compress the center part. All right, we're going to open up this wide. And then we'll pull. I feel like we can go a little bit deeper. All right, check one more time. How far did we open it? Measure so that they can all be open the same distance. Tighten that and put this aside. And I'll use my other measuring once we open this. Whoop. Gosh, this first one's really... So I'm going to grab this clay. Give this a bit of a pull. This can actually go a little thinner. Okay. And then you basically want to try to get all the volume you can. And then you want to compress this lip. And then that's it. Leave it dry, leave it compressed. And then just do the same thing again and again and again. And this is why when you're throwing a set of something, it's important to just go ahead and do them all the same day, the same way. Make yourself a few extra, and then you can kind of pick and choose your best set, your collection. We're going to use a wooden knife to get this going, and this is 1. So let me measure how we ended up opening this to about there. Tighten this. Righty tighty. It's not tightening. It's just twisting the whole thing, but we'll keep this measurement there. All right, so that's 1. And we're going to make a set. Can't you imagine eating some pasta? So this will be like a salad plate versus like a bowl plate. Just make sure that's a continuous curve happening. Okay, so now we repeat. I have a stack of these bats. I am using the black Molly Sanyour Ceramic Speedball bats. We partnered together to bring you their iconic bats that are nice durable plastic, that are easy to get on and off your wheel, but in this nice black aesthetic. All right, adding some water, making sure that my clay is stuck to the wheel. And then I'm also going to cone this up and down a few times because I did just measure these. So it's like lots of little bits of clay to equal my 3 pounds. I'm using 3 pounds. So you see some inconsistencies. That's why we cone up and down. I mean, that's why I wedge too, but coning up and down also helps work out those inconsistencies. And then we're going to press this down. I'm really anchoring with this hand, driving down with this right hand. I'm trying to keep everything connected as I drive that clay down, which then widens it. And then I'm going to stretch this out, compressing it. Once the clay gets pushed thin and wide, it doesn't like that. So by running the clay under the pressure of your sponge, your fingers, a rib tool, it's just helping to realign and re-strengthen all those clay particles. And then we'll take our first measurement. Do we open wide enough? Perfect. Perfect. Bring out my sponges. Give some pressure to the base of the clay. Whoop. And then I will slow my wheel and pull this. Goodness gracious, that's okay. Just hold it and rotate, rotate, rotate. Compressing the lip. And for these, for me, it's all about that curve, like having this nice curve, but then giving it this lip, the height of these walls, and then pressing out, then back in. Needs to open wider. So I'm actually just going to open the base of the clay and see if that also stretches the lip. A part of me, perfect, wants to make another style that's open. Like this kind of closes in, which again I love because you can kind of like pull your fork against it and open it up. So we've got 2. We've got 11 more to go on this set. So part of how I'm making this set, when I weighed everything, I'm using the same size bat. I am throwing them consistently. So like the first one was kind of the prototype. The second one was that one. I'm getting more in my flow. Now I'm really in my flow. So to get 7, which is what they want, 7, I am throwing 13. Because also I just think a dinner set, it should be an odd number. So maybe they'll end up wanting 8 instead of 7. So hopefully throwing 13, I get 13, but hopefully at least I'll get about 8 that all work together well. And this is just really important that my left hand, this one, is anchored in my body, keeping everything stable. My right hand's kind of doing the work to press down, which widens and they come together. And then I compress, holding the sponge over the surface of the clay, pressing those clay particles back in alignment, because the clay really doesn't like to be thrown out thin and wide. That's when it wants to crack. First measurement. Almost too wide. Okay. Now we'll go ahead and pull a wall. Guys, thanks for tuning in. If you've got a question, I've got to, oh, it never shows me the live feed. And I press live feed. So thanks for tuning in. If you're tuning in and have questions, I love questions. I'm a ceramics teacher. I'm a clay enthusiast. I've been doing clay for over 2 decades. Just opened my dream studio here in Atlanta, Georgia. So if you're in Atlanta, come take a class with us. The signature 8-week clay 101 and beyond will teach you everything you need to know about working with clay. And then it's just a matter of you practicing, which is really all clay is a practice. It's a fun practice that you never win pottery. You just continue to develop your skills and develop your voice as an artist. Always trying new things, pushing your boundaries, pushing your skills, pushing your ideas. And unfortunately, sometimes clay breaks, so you gotta remake some things sometimes. Which is why with these, I am trying to do better measuring. I weighed my clay. I'm taking measurements as I open these, as I pull the wall. I think that these are pretty good. Just gonna bring it in just a little bit more. Okay, leave it dry, leave it compressed, and then I'm putting a little groove at the base to get that wire under. And then that's 3. Okay. Let's measure them side by side. Pretty good. Another bat, another ball of clay, and I do have to start on these speedball bats. Everything's dry before you add water. Make sure it's stuck on there with dry hands. Everything's dry. I'm pressing the clay down to make sure it's stuck, and then I'll usually start with a cone down, like downward pressure, to make sure it's stuck, because otherwise you could just rip it right off. And then basically while I'm coning up, I'm pushing with my left hand from my forearm into the clay. This hand pushing from my elbows and my hip, pushing my whole forearm into the clay, pressing this part. And then meanwhile, the right hand is the assistant. So it connects. And usually when I'm coning up and down, it's almost like a clamp from the bottom. I'm clamping and squeezing. And then when I get to the top, I make a fist around my thumb and I drive the clay down. And then you drop to keep a cone. And you cone up and down until it feels smooth. So right now there's still inconsistencies. All the way to the top, all the way down. Driving this clay down patiently until I kind of get to the same spot I did the other one. Then I am going to take my measurement. Almost. Just needs to go a little wider. Okay, check one more time. Because when you're making sets, it really is all about measuring, measuring, measuring. I hated doing that for the longest time and avoided it, but as soon as you do it, the more easier your life is to repeat the same form and make a set that are more like twins instead of cousins. Rotate, and then I do like this lip to be kind of compressed. Needs to get opened up a little bit more. So I'm going to press on it. A little bit more. You can press here. Because you don't want the center to be the peak. If anything, you want that to be the lowest. So my pressure will make sure that that's how I want it. And then I'm going to open this slightly more. Slowing my wheel. compressing, and then measure. Perfect. Scrape out this, leave a groove, do the next one. So working on these bowl plates. This one looks like it should be taller because they are more like pasta. So let me see if I can squeeze this wall to get more height, but keep all the diameters are pretty good. So just squeezing that wall, that will give me a little more. And then that's too big, so I'm just gonna lean on it. Rotate, rotate. All right. That's done. This one looks like it could be taller. Squeeze it. This is the beauty of these bats. If you haven't thrown at the black Molly Sanyour Ceramics Speedball bats, you can literally just pop them right back on. And keep working on your pot. So let's measure this one. Perfect. Okay. Excellent. Another one. Got more clay down here. Let me see. See if I can remember that I am recording on my time lapse over here. I do like to record for shorter social media content, usually like a time lapse or something. But as I've been recording and going live with you guys, I've been forgetting to turn it off. But squeezing this, coning it up and down until the clay feels smooth. Now I'm trying to push it down because I'm making a set. I'm just trying to get my muscle memory going, opening to the same diameter each time. Have my measurement here. Perfect. Pull this wall. Make sure this is flat and compressed. Grab this wall. And this is where I really want to get that height. Round this back in, slow and rotate, rotate, rotate. It's looking a little too narrow. So I'm also just compressing, make sure that the bottom is flowing how I want. Compressing this lip. Open, open, open. Rotate, rotate, rotate. Compress, compress. Take away a little from the bottom so I can get my wire cutter under there easily. Check my measurement one more time. Okay. This is kind of the set coming to life. Another one. Oh, forgot to do my stove. Maybe we'll do like just a regular video. 3 pounds. It's just a little real-time video. All right, let's see. Are these looking? Same, but different. That's why I'm making a little extra. Another one. Press it down, cone it up. Thanks for tuning in. If you're just hopping on, join me. Join the oddly satisfying process of throwing on the wheel. We're throwing a set of bowl plates. I'm coning up to make sure that there's no inconsistencies or air bubbles in the clay. And once it feels smooth, then I can push it down to center. And as I push it down to center, I will keep pressing it down until my right hand on top kind of gets the same diameter. I've weighed this clay to the same amounts, 3 pounds, and I'm kind of opening to the same point. And then I have my measures. So making sure I open this wide, compressing the tops, kind of doing the same thing on all of them. And then hopefully they only want 7, so in making this round, I'm making 13. I should be able to get enough that are similar to be a set. Okay, you gotta really kind of keep the clay compressed while you're pulling it up. Slowing the wheel. This looks too narrow. Way too narrow. Just want to open that. Then we'll round that. Let's see, this one's wanting to droop. This is where too. You throw an extra just in case one flops too. I could just stop there. Don't overlap. Okay, that's good. But this lip is kind of thin, so I do want to compress it. And then we'll leave it there. Don't overlove it. Leave this dry. Hair got in it. Okay, so we'll just hold it. Get right back on track. I was just trying to get this water out and make sure that the inside bottom is at the slope I want it. When you're throwing, you're always making sure that that interior form is how you want it, because you'll trim the outside later. All right. So it's kind of really tall compared to those thinner wall. The more you can anchor against yourself, the better. Perfect. Compress. Again, blend any ridges, any peaks or valleys. This is the time to make sure everything's flat on the floor of your pot. Let's check my measurement. Let's go wider. Compress, compress. Check the measurement. It needs to open a little bit more. Slow the wheel, so that little wobble wobble. It's okay. I'm patient. I need to slow my wheel and just let it rotate, rotate. Compress the slip. Check again. Should be good. Put a little groove in the bottom so I can wire cut it later. Shoot on. Another one. Okay, we got 2, 4, 6, 8. This will be 9. And to be honest, these are all very much giving cousins. I think basically as I continue to do dinnerware, if people add on to their set or series, and if they want like a set of 6 or 8 and I make them and they get them and then they want to add like 2 more, I don't know that they're all going to be exactly like. That's what the beauty of these hands, you know, they're similar enough, but until I find a way to have a machine reproduce the style I create over and over, they're all going to be slightly different. That's just the beauty of handmade, right? Okay, driving the clay down, hands are connected. As the clay gets wider, they open up together. And I've just done this enough to know to bring my right pinky hand until my pinky reaches the center. Rotate, rotate, compress. Giving myself like measurements like that help repeat, as well as taking, oh, that got really wide. That's better. Okay, compress with a rib tool. Anytime you're pressing the clay low and wide, compress, compress, whether it's a big plate or a platter or anything, a slab if you're hand building. I'm going to pull this up and out. Measure. Oh, that's perfect. It's perfect. But it is hard to get the height on these the same. And then compress. Round. I like to have my lips rounded. And then I cut away. and then leave it dry. I don't know if y'all notice that little drop of water. If you leave a drop of water, you'll come back to a potential crack. That one looks, we'll see. They really are looking like cousins over here. We're trying to make identical twins. We've measured, we're doing all the same things. We are human, we are not machines. So each of them are slightly different. I'm trying my best to get a set. If you're tuning in, I'm getting a set of bowl plates. I don't know if these are going to be too small. Counting up and down to get these inconsistencies out. Watch those. Ready? Inconsistencies. We don't like those. You count up again. You want your clay to be nice and smooth. Nice horizontal marks. And if you notice, I'm not even looking at the clay. I'm just feeling it and letting it rotate. And then slow release. Slow. Smooth. Still a little twist there, but we're going to just push this down. What time is it? I can't see what time it is. Okay, we're pushing down. Checking that. How wide did we go? We got to go a little bit wider. So we'll just compress. That little inconsistency, I don't know if you saw that. Jumping around that lip. I'm just holding on tight. Compressing down while I'm pulling up. Pressing here. And then ultimately trying to grab some clay to get a nice wall height. Curve it out. And then curve it back in. While keeping that lip from getting too sharp. Oop, wrong one. Needs to go wider. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Molly Sanyour here. Molly Sanyour, tuning in live from Molly Sanyour Ceramics Studio. I just went live earlier while I prepped all this clay to throw these bowl plates and my salad plates. So make sure you check out my other playlists on YouTube. Here, I'm just taking that little extra second to make sure that the interior curve is a continuous curve. And honestly, I kind of alter these lips slightly. So this is not quite perfect, but you know what I don't like is this inside bottom though. And again, the beauty of these bats, I can just put on and see this bottom here needs a little attention because I can see some grooves. And we want this to be nice and smooth and continuous. Okay, beautiful. Put this one down here. Oop. All right, how many more? Three more. Oh, that was recording. Okay. Here we go. Smack it on, dry. Cone it down, make sure it's stuck on there. Really anchor up. This is my left hand. I'm pushing from my forearm straight. You should have a straight line through the center. I'm pressing the meat there. My right hand is opposite that palm. I do like a wet sponge, and my fingers are pushing as my hand pulls. This hand's pushing, this hand's pulling, and to help, I latch this on so it's almost like a clamp. And then I start at the bottom, and you can't just do this. You don't just do that. You put inconsistencies in. You have to start at the bottom, hold it, and rotate. Then you come here and rotate. Then you come here and rotate. You make your way up, but you have to let it rotate each time you get up there. Now, if it's thick enough still here with these inconsistencies, I can just start at the bottom one more time. Really start at the bottom. Get all this clay at the bottom. Get it, get it, get it, get it. This hand starts on the bottom. This hand grabs that clay. And even though I'm working on these bowl plates that are wide and narrow, coning this clay up and down, it's like wedging on the wheel. So if there are air bubbles and inconsistencies, they kind of work themselves out. If you're patient, you can just do it one-handed, pushing it down. But see those little twirls? Those are inconsistencies. But as I hold it and rotate, they work themselves out. As I keep pressing down, the clay gets wider. And if it gets off center at this point while you're pressing down, it's the left hand's job. This hand's pressing it wide, but this hand's keeping it centered. They have to work together. And I check my first measurement. And then I can compress, make sure I'm flat. And then you might be thinking, wow, it really doesn't take that long to throw a bowl or a plate. But keep in mind, you didn't see the prep work. You're not going to see the cleanup work. You're not going to see the in between as I have to kind of baby these and get them flipped, and I pinch the lips, and then you have to trim them when they're just right. And then you've got to smooth them all clean. Then you've got to load them to the bisque fire, the first fire, which makes them permanent. Then after that, you got to glaze them, then fire them again, cleaning them up between glazing and firing them. So it's a lot of steps. The throwing part is fun and satisfying, and it happens pretty quickly, but there are so many more steps that go into it. Okay, I'm going to pull this clay. We're going to go up to get height, out to get a little volume, and back in to give it that kind of bowl plate vibe. And then we've got this measurement here that I'm using to make sure everything's staying consistent. And this is the time that, like, if you're going to eat out of this and you don't take the time right now to make sure that the bottom is like smooth, you'll get grooves where, you know, food or sauce can get stuck. Nobody wants that. Bring this up, compressing, rounding, smoothing, and then running a wooden knife. Let's leave this drier, smoother. And then she's done. Boop. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited for these. Thanks for tuning in, guys. It's always fun to throw in chat. Sometimes it slows me down because I'm chatting, but it's way more fun. And I have 2 more balls. This is the last one I'm going to do here. And then I'll switch over and get a little video to post later. Okay, grabbing this clay, coning up. Don't skip coning up and down. Sometimes I do, and those little air bubbles and inconsistencies just make their way later, so you might as well reveal them now. Cone it down. Pressing down. Bringing this pinky all the way to center. Rotate, rotate. Check my measurement. Compress. And this is the beauty of when you do sets, doing them all at the same time. From the first one to this one, they should be getting faster. They should be more in rhythm and flow, more consistent. The first one's kind of like the first pancake. You got to just do one, see how hot your stove is, you know, see what it's doing. And then you're ready. Grabbing that clay. squeezing it to get some height on my walls, slowing my speed, pressing out as I let my outside hand round that clay back in. Way too narrow. So this inside hand's going to press out. This outside hand's supporting. And then it's rounding up and back in. Check my measurement. Let's say open this a little more. As we're really slowing the wheel. You know, a lot of times I'm guilty of it. I'll post time-lapse videos, but the reality is really got to be slow and controlled with clay. I think this should open just slightly more. Clean this off. And I think this needs to press down a little more. We're opening this just ever so slightly more. Compress, compress, round it. Making a groove, checking one more time. She's done. Okay, thanks so much for tuning in, YouTube. I will catch you on the next one. Make sure you subscribe, like, drop some comments if you got any questions. I love talking clay. I will be bringing back the Throne with Molly membership, my virtual online community soon. We established such a great community, and then I shut down to come open this studio. Now the studio's open, so it's almost time to relaunch it. Can't wait. And if you're in Atlanta, our next round of classes starts so soon, like next week. So make sure you get signed up. Join your, oh, look at that clay. Y'all didn't tell me I had clay right there. Look at that. Okay. See you next time.